Hello, YTPC. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. And today I've got Andrew, Southern Piper. How are you?
Doing well, Ethan. How are you today?
I am doing great. Andrew is at work, and like most of us, office spaces kind of frown on us smoking our pipes there. So he can't join me in this, but I am smoking some of Killer Breyer's Appalachian Sunrise. This stuff is absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite blends. So
I'm gonna have to get my hand on
yeah,
that.
you do. You got to meet up with those guys. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you live, what makes you tick.
So it may come as a surprise to everybody, but I'm from the South. Grew up in Alabama. Yeah, right. Grew up in Alabama, and after 9/11, I moved away to join the military. And since probably, I've kind of lived all over. I've lived in 7 states. But after I left the military full time, I've been wanting to get back to Alabama. Finally able to do that a couple of years ago before the pandemic hit. But been in healthcare since 9/11. When I joined the military, they said, yeah, we're going to make you a healthcare administrator. So I've spent the past 20 years running hospitals, and that's what I do today.
So healthcare, gotta love it. I love talking to people like you and Cliff Higgins, who also smoke pipes. What got you into pipe smoking?
So I grew up with my great uncle on my mom's side. It was my maternal grandmother's brother-in-law, Uncle William, smoked pipes. And so I grew up with him, and he wasn't he wasn't one that always had one in his mouth, but anytime we were at his house or he would come over to like a family reunion at one of the other family members' houses, he would have a pipe. Of course, back in those days, people still smoked in their houses, and it was not uncommon to see him sitting. Yeah. And so I've always loved the pipe. I've loved the smell of it, and kind of the level of distinction that smokers have when they smoke a pipe. And it's funny, the other day I was thinking back on it about other influential pipe smokers. And when I was a real little guy, my grandparents, it was the days before you had curbside or street side mailboxes, and their mailbox was still attached to the house.
Right.
And their postman would, hop out of the truck and walk up, and he had a holster on his belt that it was a tobacco pouch and a little pipe holder. And I can remember him, if he wasn't smoking it or actively packing it, he would have it right there beside. And so those are just good memories I've had of pipe smokers. And when I got to college and old enough to legally buy tobacco, I actually bought, it was a little bent billiard and some apple aromatic, and just really wasn't a fan. I didn't like the tobacco flavor. The bit wasn't comfortable. And so I stuck it in the glove box or something in my truck and completely forgot about it. And I think I actually sold that truck with the pipe and the tobacco in it. So somebody got a little sample. But fast forward about, I don't know, several years. I mean, you figure that was probably when I was 21, 22. When I was about 28 or 29, we were stationed down at Eglin Air Force Base. And from where we lived to the base, there was a tobacco shop on my route. And so I would stop in there and get cigars on a regular basis. And one day I decided to pick up a little basket pipe and a bag of Black Cavendish. And just kind of it started from there. And that was probably 16 years ago.
So the question, one of the questions, do you still have your first pipe? Obviously, no.
No, I do. Well, right. You're right. I don't have my first pipe.
If you sold it with the truck.
Yeah, that's true. But I do still have the first continuously owned. I still have it. It's a Missouri Meerschaum hardwood pipe, and I still have it.
What got you interested in making videos? How'd you get into the YTPC, and then how did you make that jump from where we all start out watching into making videos?
So, I think like most of us, there was something I wanted to improve on my technique. And so I got on and searched, and I really don't remember what it was, Ethan, to be honest with you. I don't know if it was tongue bite related or, tobacco, wanting to find out about a tobacco. There was something I searched that led me to, guys like Matches 860 and Mutton Chop, and kind of the godfathers, if you will, of the YTPC. And I really don't remember when that was. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. During my pipe smoking journey, I took about a 4-year hiatus because I was living in Florida. And when I say Florida, it was South Florida, where it's hot about 11 and a half months out of the year. Mm-hmm. And so I never picked up a pipe for a while. So when I moved to East Tennessee many years ago, I got back into it just because it was colder weather. I had to grow a beard because my face was freezing, and trying to get back into the habit and with the technique and the rhythm of smoking a pipe, I started Googling things and happened upon, several of the channels. And I didn't understand what YouTube was. The concept of interacting with these people that were presenting was completely foreign. It'd be like me wanting to, send Barbara Walters a note, or, which I would never do. They were on the other side of the screen and they were untouchable.
Right.
And probably about a year ago, I noticed people would leave comments on videos, and I started watching a lot of guys on a regular basis, and found the Spurgeon Piper and Alan Harrelson at Old Carolina Pipe Cottage, found your channel, and just started watching. And I was lurking a lot. And I finally decided, this is interesting, and I think I could have something to add. And so I contemplated it for probably a couple of months, and finally just decided to sit down one day and hit record on my iPad and upload a video. And here we are.
Well, and
it was just the idea of being a contributing member to something. And I raised my kids to be contributing members of society. And, I wanted to be more active in our hobby, and I wanted to be able to contribute something to this community. So.
Well, and from your first video, you've seemed, very relaxed on camera. I know a lot of guys are nervous for the first few weeks that they're doing it. You've been a natural, you've got one of those calming, soothing approaches.
Well, I appreciate that. I really think it comes from 2 years of having to do meetings like this. I never got sent home. I had to come to work during the pandemic, and we had to figure out a way to have meetings. And I wish I had bought stock in Zoom in February of 2020. That would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
But I think the only thing I can attribute that to is for 2 years sitting in this chair in front of this camera doing this multiple times a week.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you flipped to this side of the camera, mostly because I think that kind of facilitated us getting to meet each other last weekend at the Muletown show.
Absolutely.
Which was just, that was a blast on so many levels.
Yeah, I agree. Just getting to hang out with you, and I know we spent a lot of time together. I probably spent more time with you than I did any other presenter. But just with everybody, whether I spent hours with them or just a few minutes, it was such a good time. Mm-hmm. And that fellowship was the best part of the show. You know, no offense to the vendors and the exhibitors.
Right.
And it was great talking to them too. But I walked away with this great fulfillment, having met so many people, not just in the YTPC, but just pipe smokers in general.
Right.
It was really a good time.
Yeah, and as much as a chatterbox as I am, I even enjoyed sitting on the couch quietly and just enjoying the pipe and people watching. You know, that was
absolutely,
was
absolutely. I agree.
Now, so you've been at this for almost a couple of decades. Have you developed a particular fondness for one brand, a carver, or a one shape?
So, yes and no. I am drawn more to the Petersons and Savinellis just because of, kind of their availability and their price point. Mm-hmm. My favorite carver is Thomas Cristiano. And my understanding is that he has passed recently, and the family is not planning to continue the business.
I had not heard that.
I have not verified that, but that's what I've heard. But I really, everything that Cristiano put out, from his basket pipe, which it was the branded Calabrese, all the way up to, I think I have one of his that was about $200 in his signature line. They look great. They smoke impeccably well. And they're comfortable in the hand. They're easy to clench. So he's my favorite carver, and I probably have 6 of his pipes. But as far as price point and availability, I really lean towards Savinellis and Petersons. My favorite shape would be exactly what you're holding in your hand.
Oh yeah, a Liverpool?
Yeah. I like the straight Canadian straight billiards. There's a level of distinction, I think, with those. But really, there's not a shape that I own that I dislike.
Gotcha.
But as far as my favorite, and my favorite smoking pipe now is a freehand. I bought one at the show, and I've just been absolutely smoking the living daylights out of it, from a newer carver named Ohio Breyer. And he does really good work in his the one I bought from him has just turned into my favorite pipe. It fits well in my hand. It clenches well. It smokes really well. I think you met him. Dan Reese is his name.
Yes. Yeah. I can see the attraction to the whole Canadian family, that having a piece of briar that's good enough to get a long shank out of. Whether you turn it into a Lavat, a Liverpool, a Lumberman, or a Canadian, they're all just very nice pieces of wood to be able to get something that size.
I finally bought one probably about a year ago, a Peterson. It's in their Killarney line, and it's just handsome, smokes well. So.
Well, and I know exactly what you mean. A lot of guys wind up drifting toward Peterson and Savinelli just because of that. You can get a decent pipe for, especially when they're on sale, for $100 less when they're on sale, and even their mid-range, not their high-end stuff, but their mid-range stuff is still 150.
Right.
And so you're not talking the $300 and $400 break the bank type, and they are affordable, and they both offer lower cost lines that you can always get for under 100 somewhere.
Right.
And factory shapes, they're consistent. They may not be fancy, but they're consistent, and they're good smokers. I finally have a Savinelli. Got that 320, and fantastic pipe. I've got a couple of Petersons, both of them straight billiards. It's hard to screw those up, but they're just fantastic stuff. Well, let's move into blends then. So we talked a little bit about pipes. You started out, as you mentioned, on an aromatic that didn't thrill you in the slightest. What generally do you like to smoke now, and what haven't you tried that maybe you're ready to move into?
So I still call myself an aromatics guy. I enjoy a lot of vanilla based aromatics, but I have really ventured into let me back up. So first getting into it, I smoked, and when I say first getting into it, this would have been 16 years ago when I got into consistently smoking a pipe. Black Cavendish, Dan Tobaccos, Black Velvet, which is a really nice aromatic. And then there were some aromatics from a brick and mortar in Gatlinburg that had some really nice flavor to it. And so I kind of smoked those and really never ventured out until probably a few years ago. Well, I say I didn't venture out, with the exception of two blends. I picked up some early morning pipe back in probably 07 or 08. And I remember getting shocked. It was like smoking a campfire. And I still have most of that tobacco, and I've rehydrated it, and I will smoke it on occasion. And then in 08, I got some Christmas cheer from McClellan's, and I still have most of it left. But those were the only two non-aromatics that I had. I didn't smoke them often, and so I really didn't know much about them. And a few years ago, I decided that it's time to expand my palate, venture out. And so I got into Burley's and Virginia-based blends. And recently, and I say recently, probably within the past 8 months or so, I've been trying more Latakia blends. What I haven't got a lot of time with are Lakelands and Balkans. So I've got to develop that part of my palate.
Well, you do like aromatics, so Lakelands may not put you off so much, like they do some people. I'm not a big aromatic fan, but Lakeland doesn't bother me. That particular family of flavors, that floral note, especially when it doesn't completely dominate the tobaccos. Balkans, on the other hand, Balkans, they can, they run the gamut. And if you're starting to explore Englishes, they're a nice variant on that.
Yeah. But I've absolutely fallen in love with a few Latakia blends. Squadron Leader is fantastic. And Boswell's Mild English, I am just in love with.
So outside of pipes, what are some of your other hobbies?
So I enjoy tasting and sampling and drinking mass quantities of single malt scotches. And I'm a cigar smoker as well.
Okay.
But really, after the pandemic hit, it was interesting. One of the hobbies I got into was barbecuing. So smoking pork or chicken or whatever. So that's another hobby that I do, is cooking
And
or smoking.
for those of y'all who don't live in the South, the term barbecue has absolutely nothing to do with throwing hamburgers on a grill. That is
Absolutely.
grilling. Barbecue involves smoke and indirect heat. So
Yes,
knock it off with the
absolutely.
whole, we're going to barbecue hamburgers for 4th of July. No, you're not. You're going to grill
No, you're not. Exactly. Thank you for clarifying that too, because that is a pet peeve. Absolutely. For most of us below the Mason-Dixon anyway.
That's right. We got to stick together on that.
Absolutely.
So did you get into other kinds of cooking, like in the kitchen as well?
No. I mean, the short answer is no. The part I enjoy is I like managing the fire. I've got a stick burner offset smoker. I like sitting outside, managing the fire all day with, a couple of cold beverages. I'll bring my iPad, or I've got an outdoor TV now that I'll turn on a game and just sit and relax, or do other chores in the immediate vicinity of the smoker, and just enjoy managing the fire, watching my temperatures, whatever the cooking process takes as far as extra seasoning or basting of the meat.
Yeah.
So I really don't do much in the kitchen at all, other than wash dishes.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I do love to cook in the kitchen as well, but I love taking a big pipe out and just sitting there and enjoying. The Wizard Cobbit is good enough that if I put a slow burning burley in there, or a nice long flake, that'll take me between 2.5 and 3 hours to smoke down.
Oh, nice.
And
that's
so
fantastic.
That'll cover a couple of racks of ribs in the smoker. It won't do a shoulder or anything, but
right.
A couple of reloads and it will.
Right.
But, quite awesome. Now, I wanted to also ask, and I meant to do this back when we were talking about channels. Like a lot of you, or like a lot of us, you got into it looking for instruction. What keeps you here? What keeps you interested in watching and making videos here in the YTPC?
It's the community, and it's the relationships. I think shortly after I started presenting, I had, and I don't know, probably half a dozen or so channels give me a shout out. And I was humbled and surprised at that. And so, that made me want to make more content. And then it also provided a connection, because, you guys thought enough of me to watch my videos. I wanted to return the favor. Obviously we have a common hobby in place, so it's easy to strike up a conversation.
Sure.
But at the same time, you learn other little things about each other, like, for instance, Scott at the 16th day. I appreciated several months ago, he did a birthday giveaway to celebrate his birthday.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very generous. And so I reached out to him because I wanted to send him a birthday card. And I got him a little gift that I sent with it. And, and then he returned the favor by sending me some samples of tobacco. And so Scott and I have developed a friendship. Steve Coddington, Smoking Cardboard, he and I have developed a really good friendship. You and I, Ethan, have developed a rapport and a good friendship. And so that's why I stick around and continue to make content. Because I've gotten to know, and I'm not sure where his channel got off to, but there was another presenter. His name's Brian. I think he's taken his channel down for a period of time, but he and I got to be good friends. Edwin Pipes and Cigars is another good friend of mine, and several of these guys, we've exchanged phone numbers. We keep in touch with each other. We check on each other. Locally, Smoking the Ghost, Greg, and then Bama Guitar Dude, Mark.
Right.
We've gotten to know each other, and we had tornadoes come through the other night, and we were all three checking on each other. So that's why I stick around. Is because it's a tremendous community, and I'm building fantastic friendships out of it. So,
well, I think that every one of these interviews I've done, that has been the answer to that question. And quite frankly, I expect that's probably going to be the answer for as long as I do these interviews, but I keep asking it because I keep wanting anybody who hasn't really gotten into the YTPC yet and happens to see one of these videos, I want them to hear that.
Absolutely.
It is so much about the people. Once you've gotten past the basics, the mechanics of getting a pipe lit, and it's so much about the people. So
absolutely. Yeah.
and I want people hearing that.
Yeah. And I think, it's funny. I was on an Instagram chat last night with concerning pipers, and I can't remember who, the Georgia Piper, and then Anthony, whose channel you'll remind me of because I can't think of it.
Billy Breyer 626.
Yes. And we were talking about, for the longest time, I didn't tell people I smoked pipe until I realized how many other pipe smokers were out there through the YTPC, through the Instagram pipe community. And so it's good to know that there are, hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other pipe smokers out there who share this.
There have to be, because Dr. Grabo by themselves sells, 300,000 some pipes every year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to Jeremy Reeves at the show on Saturday, about their, and I prefaced the question by asking him, I didn't know if he knew much about the business side since he was on the creative side, but he was telling me that their pounds of finished product sold in the past 2 years has more than doubled.
Wow.
So, and that is unbelievable to think about that growth. So,
yeah, I had no idea that it was that much. I had heard that it was going up, but
yeah.
Now, the only other question then is demographically, is that all of us who are already smoking pipes, stocking up for the tobaccopolis or whatever you want to call it,
right?
Or is it genuinely new pipe smokers? The number of young guys doing new channels tells me there's some growth in the hobby.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be interesting to see what the true breakout is. But just I would think by the law of averages, you would have to think that a certain percentage of that is new smokers.
Yeah. Well, this has been a wonderful chat. Have you got any parting words for our viewers?
Yeah, guys, if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're not active, if you're just lurking or being a guest to a channel, I would say start engage in conversation, leave comments. If you've thought about presenting, then just do an introduction video and you'll be amazed at the response you get.
Yeah.
Because the community is one unlike any other that I've experienced, particularly on a virtual platform. And I'm going to give myself a shameless plug. I've got a giveaway going. And so if you'll hop over to my channel, it's open to everybody. And so, and it's a pretty sweet deal, pretty sweet giveaway. I'm trying to be very generous to say thank you for supporting my channel. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me add on to that. If you do make an intro video and you have trouble getting views, tap somebody, who's been around a while and has a bigger subscriber base, and say, hey, I put out an intro video. Would you mind shouting me out? Because I can tell you, this is not a competitive community in that regard, and one of us will. Also, if you've got a new or small channel and you'd like to do one of these interviews, shoot me a Gmail. It'll be down below in the bucket. I'd love to have a chat with you.
Well, and Ethan, I think you've said a mouthful. It's not a competition. Who can get the most subscribers? It's all about the community and growing the community. There's a presenter who, Little Fat Morgan is his channel name, Todd. He does. I enjoy. He self-describes himself as being very introverted and nervous on camera, but he has a great little channel, and we have. We talk every Tuesday night. We have a live chat session. Mm-hmm. And how many, we get up to about 12 or 15 in that, on
somewhere around there.
Season.
Yeah.
But even if you're shy, at the end of the day, unless you're doing an interview, you're just sitting in your house by yourself talking to yourself.
Yep.
So.
And you can do it as many times as you need to before you look at the video and go, hey, I felt comfortable with that.
Absolutely.
Take the video, throw it away. Take another video, throw it away.
Absolutely.
It's the beauty of the digital world. Nobody knows it's your 10th take.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and unless you're like me, where you finally get a take that goes and you're frustrated and you tell him how many times you had to record it, which I will do on occasion. But yeah, I think the more people we get presenting, the community will continue to grow and it'll continue to have longevity. Because I would hope to think that, the community is still going to be here thriving long after we're out of it. So.
Yep, no question. Well, thank you so much for carving some time out of your day for us. Really, really appreciate it. And I will tell
Ethan, it was my pleasure, and I'm honored to have been your guest.
Oh, it's been fun. It has been fun. Well, we need to do this some more often. I need to make more of those Tuesday nights so I can chat with you guys.
I hear you.
Folks, I'll tell you what I tell you every week. Light something you like. Enjoy your afternoon.
Be well.